We did raise
Yeah.
John's, I
Just
understand
means
that,
it's something take under consideration.
we were
that's all.
waiting for maybe the chief. If
But
he was
John
gonna
did
say
make a
something,
case
he has to
that
make it
everything
chief level,
has
but he hasn't made it.
more of a workload
Anything.
dropped on
Yep.
it. You know what I mean?
Public, so.
Listen, I can ask for a raise every month at my job, doesn't mean I'm gonna get it.
Me too.
Me
Well, you
too.
deserve it, Meg.
Thanks, Dal.
Me too.
Jimmy.
Oh, here you go.
Working man,
Here
Jimmy.
you go.
God. All right, we only got one piece.
You're only 5 minutes late.
Good.
Yep.
All right, I'm gonna call this finance and legislation meeting to order. Mr. Burnside is absent. Mr. Ballack here, and Mr. Bigley is here. We only have one piece tonight, and it is an ordinance authorizing the auditor and treasurer to transfer into the general fund the sum of $859.20 from the uncashed payroll checks older than 5 years as advertised by Ohio Auditor of the State Management Advisory Bulletin number 91-11 and declaring an emergency. Motion to bring it out.
Make a motion to bring it out.
Thank you. I second the motion. That is all we have for finance and legislation. Anybody have anything for this committee? Tomorrow's Civics Day.
What are we doing with the grass ordinance?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Gardens,
The
you mean?
gardens, I mean. What are we doing with that?
Did you bring your?
I told you how I feel.
I understand, but
Right.
we were all gonna write something and kind of bring it in and go over.
Look them over.
Yeah.
I'm not against gardens in the front yard. If they have room in the backyard, I say they should be put back there. Period.
Okay.
I don't have nothing else to say about it.
Well, it's gonna be moving parts to it, so.
I agree with what Bob said last time we talked about it.
I would say I agree with Bob's as well, which was similar to Ron's. I mean, we're all kind of in agreement, but it's to put it into a legislation form and enforce it, it's gonna take more than one or two things like that.
Mm-hmm.
I
Do
can't
know
imagine
that.
we don't have things already that kind of stipulate some things that we can.
We do, but I think enforcement, as always, is probably our issue. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Would you agree?
I would agree.
Yeah.
Do you agree, Mr.
And how do you
Bass?
get those enforced? I mean, we can't. I mean,
I always have a problem with legislation not being 100% black and white. I have been an advocate for everything to be black and white since we've been here. That it's not left up to one person's
right.
what
somebody
they
thinks
think
is
or how they
unsightly
interpret
or-
it.
Right.
That's that in all cases of law that causes a problem, because then in any law it's how the person enforcing it interprets that law. So it always to me needs to be as black and white as possible. So the more language we have in here, I think the easier it will be to enforce and to actually get it right versus us having something on the books that does nothing. And
We have
you
we
know,
have things on the books now that they don't do nothing about. With these
Agreed.
garbage cans that sit out, oh, they're supposed to be put back 24 hours after your trash and that's picked up.
that is true, and they're not supposed to go out more than 24 hours prior.
Right. But that doesn't happen down here.
Thoughts,
right.
Mr. Patrick?
I'm guilty of that from time to time.
You are?
I am.
You leave your can out? And you
been
voted
known
on
to
the ordinance.
I've been known to leave my can out.
There's people that do it on a regular basis.
Right.
Oh yeah, no,
You know what I'm saying? I
yeah.
think that's what the main
That's what I'm
matter
talking
of
about.
discussion is when
Yeah.
it comes to the garbage. There's people that
Someone's got nothing
repeatedly.
better to do with it.
It's not somebody that is away for the weekend and you come in a day late and you just
Yeah.
happen to,
I don't
you
even
know
take
what I'm
mine
saying? Because
I
I've
bring
done
mine
that.
out.
I've been away and I
have
didn't
one.
pick my garbage can up
Take it
in
up the lot.
time and put
Yeah.
it away because I was away.
Yeah.
I don't do it every weekend.
Right.
So I think that, needs to be considered, but there's people that constantly leave their garbage cans in the street.
Mhm.
I would agree.
where you wanna go with
But
it.
that's
I don't know.
more, I mean, that's more for the property code enforcement agent to.
Right.
To make a recommendation.
Correct, or especially
He's
for
out there.
habitual offenders.
My opinion is he's out there more, he gets more of the complaints, he sees more of the stuff, and if he feels that he wants something on books to help him, he has to write something up in form, give it to the law director, let the law director approve it to form, and give it to council for consideration.
Yeah, I agree.
So until he does that, I don't know what council.
And I also kind of agree that with the garden, one, as that pertains to it, we probably should have the code enforcement agent, a little bit of his input in here.
Absolutely.
He knows what he's able to enforce easily and what he isn't.
He's gonna be the one to do
He's
it.
gonna be the one doing it.
May I give my opinion on that topic?
Absolutely.
And we've talked about it before. You've got some people that have no backyard.
Correct.
Okay. You got some people, they get no sun in their backyard, and it's hard for anything to grow in the backyard. But I think if they're gonna put something in the front yard, it has to be so many feet from the sidewalk.
We
It
need
has to-
stipulations.
You know, there has to be some rule as to the size, how far away from the sidewalk,
Sure.
on the condition that they either have no backyard or there's no sun shining in the backyard to help these plants grow. That has to
Yeah.
be in it.
We need some type of reasoning that it has to go,
Absolutely.
has to go in the front yard.
Absolutely.
But
Not to just,
Correct. Correct. And also, I don't want to make a mountain out of a molehill because literally we have very few of them in the city.
absolutely.
right.
So understand when we're talking about this, we're talking about a very
Well, it was
yeah,
to get a permit, right? Isn't that what we were talking
Yeah.
about?
correct.
So that would
Get a permit and then if,
be the time to determine whether
They
have it.
qualify for the permit or
Right.
not based on their situation at home,
Absolutely.
which I think is fine.
And what they should do after they're done using their
What do you
garden in the
I
front
agree with
yard,
that.
clean it up.
Getting a permit.
Till it under,
That's like me.
Yeah.
you know.
I gotta
Pick up
Yeah,
the black
clean it up.
plastic
Yeah.
that's
And
been
I'm gonna
sitting
put a
there.
front yard garden.
You know that,
Yeah.
I got
mate.
a big backyard.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can do it in the back.
Right.
I
I got
don't-
the room. I got sunshine. I got all that. I'm gonna give you an example. There's a house on 8th Street that was for sale, and it's the fire chief's in-laws. There's no sun back. They've got plenty of trees. There's no sun to help, nurture these plants. So if they wanted to put a half a dozen tomato plants or something in the front yard, I wouldn't have a problem with it.
Yeah. But if you got an acre backyard
I
and a
agree.
small front yard and you just want to put your things up front because you don't want to put them in your
Right.
backyard,
No,
I'd rather avoid that.
absolutely.
I do have one more thing too. Something came across me this week that bothered me quite a bit. Did you know that our employees do not get holiday pay for Easter? Is everybody aware of that?
No. I took for granted that the unions and they would negotiate that as part of their.
Now I'm sure they got
Probably
it
pick which.
correct, and if
Yeah.
you remember
Ones they
before
want
we
for
did, but
unions.
I'm just like, Easter? So if you're away from your family on an Easter dinner to be here, you don't get holiday pay.
I believe fire and police do.
They do not.
You're sure of that?
Positive.
I don't think Ray got, I remember, like, I don't,
Well, I don't know how it is now, but I don't know how it was then, but I
Yeah.
know now that you do not get holiday pay for Easter,
They did
which
for Good
seems
Friday.
crazy to me because that is a day where most people get together with their families and
Yeah.
eat.
so did you say Good Friday?
I think they
did?
got Good Friday, yeah.
Okay.
They get Good Friday.
Well,
with-
I'd like to see, I
think
don't
Kenny
remember what
worked
the,
Good
I would like
because
to
they
take a
have
look
so
at it.
many of them and we added on one.
We did,
Yeah.
but I mean, there's other holidays that, let's be honest, people don't get together for whatsoever that you get holiday pay
Well,
for.
they would have to.
They do
That's
get
what their
Good
union,
Friday.
isn't that
Yeah.
what their union fights for those holidays to get?
I should be.
We,
Yeah.
but
Good Friday.
we mark those, if you remember, we only gave so many holidays.
Right.
When we put one up, we took one back. I guess all
Well,
I'm,
not this last time, we
Oh,
added
yeah,
one.
we did.
Yeah.
but did we not take
Juneteenth,
one
we
away?
added,
Mm-mm.
no.
They asked
I-
for Black Friday and Juneteenth, and we gave them one.
Okay. But I think what I
You're right, they
Yeah.
asked for
I
Black
guess what I'm
Friday.
saying is I think we should take a look at that, and I'm not saying add a paid holiday. I'm saying maybe move them around to.
But are we able to do that?
I think
Or-
so.
they're
On president,
they
we could discuss it, but
I think.
I guess what I'm
non-u-
saying is on President's Day,
non-union
do you
employees
use your family
could-
get together for dinner?
No.
Nobody's
Union
does.
people, they
So
need to negotiate that in
Yeah.
the contract.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they negotiate though, Dallas, I'm pretty sure. They decide which holidays they wanna take,
Unions.
and that's
Yeah.
how.
Yeah.
they-
Union-
But not
union
our-
workers do.
Not everybody.
but
wants
not our
Easter.
regular employees
No.
here,
Right.
and they don't get holiday pay either.
Oh, who are you saying? I thought it would be our employees that,
Our union people, that's part of their negotiation process.
Yeah. That's,
right.
yeah.
But
So
not
it is like somebody
Megan.
represents
Megan,
us.
do you get
Well,
Easter
no, it's
holiday
because
pay?
that Easter isn't recognized
You
as a
get Good Friday
national
pay.
holiday.
No.
You know, good,
Easter is not.
hey
as far as-
Dallas,
Yes,
she don't get Good Friday or Easter.
that's what I
Well, they
said.
probably figure it falls on a Sunday and people don't work
Yeah.
Sunday, but then you have
Good
your police
Friday.
officers and your
Mhm.
firemen that do.
Yeah, I mean, again, I just thought it was crazy
Well-
to me.
I could see, since you brought that up, City Hall's closed on, why should you pay them a holiday pay for Sunday?
Agree. I mean, and again, with the fire and the police, that is.
Sunday.
that
Now,
is-
Friday, normally work, I could see them giving them
Yeah,
Good
that's a
Friday.
Good Friday.
Yeah, it just seemed like Easter is a very important
That's-
holiday that people get together to not get holiday pay if you were away from a family dinner for that.
I'm not for paying
Everyone
them
else gets
holiday
Martin
pay
Luther-
when normally City Hall's closed on Sunday.
I'm
Now-
not for the actual holiday, but Good Friday, I think.
Everybody else gets Martin Luther King Day.
Yep,
You get
they get
King
Martin
Day?
Luther King Day, plus
Yeah.
they
That's-
get,
It was either Easter or Martin
Okay.
Luther King Day.
they get Good Friday
That's
too.
what Kenny just
Well,
told me.
Good
don't get
Friday's
paid
the
for
day
it.
that they normally work.
And that
We
was
don't
what
get
they
You don't get
picked.
paid for
I
Good
don't
Friday.
get paid for Good Friday.
Says Good
The only
Friday,
thing
only
is
the fire
she
department
went
gets
home
Good
a half
Friday,
a day.
everyone else gets
I went
Martin
home
Luther
at 2
King Day.
o'clock, I worked all
Okay.
day. There was
Bob closed
hardly
the
any
City
of the
Hall
offices
down
were
and she
open.
asked about it. It was ridiculous to leave her as the only employee in this
Yeah.
building, so I told her to go home.
Exactly.
What, on Good Friday? Yeah. Yeah, it just seemed crazy to me, again, that there's other holidays that they get holiday time for. This one they didn't.
Well, if City Hall, if you're not a policeman or a fireman, we're on 24 hour, or I don't know who works on Sunday down at wastewater treatment.
So that was kind of more what I was thinking. I
You know.
mean,
But these
especially-
people that work on Sundays, okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
but ones that don't work on Sundays because
It's a
City
waste.
Hall's closed, I don't see we should be paying them holiday pay.
Well, sure. If you're not working, you're
Right.
on holiday pay. I'm just pertaining to the people who actually.
Maybe that's why they switch it to Martin Luther
Yeah,
King
and
Day.
it could be. It just seemed like something that we should bring on.
Megan, do you remember if you did get Martin Luther King?
Yeah, I believe so.
There you go, that's probably a question of Easter.
Okay.
It's stated in our codified what holidays we get paid for.
Okay. What else we got?
Dallas, come on, you got me on a roll now.
What else you got for me, Mike?
I don't have nothing really. Well, let's talk about streets.
Yeah,
I don't know what, I guess they're working on a list of streets now.
Okay.
I had brought up that Oakview on the north side, that street's bad, you've been on there a lot.
It's bad, yeah. Especially if you get towards the bottom half that's a hill,
Right.
it's really
Down
bad.
where your house is and up towards 616, it's bad.
They're bad.
And I brought it up and I was told that it probably won't receive enough points to get.
did you
The only
bring
one
up
that's probably
Lincoln?
not in here is the Juneteenth. 'cause
And that was
they
brought up,
didn't
yes,
clarify
that Lincoln was brought up. Lincoln was
We
brought up,
passed it, I just have to-
Lower Creek was brought up,
Yeah,
that's bad. So I guess they're working on a list now and I hope that they come to council and,
Well, I'd like to see the list.
I would
Once-
too, but
yeah.
they're working on it now.
Yeah,
Does council get any input on that?
I would like to think that,
I would like to think we should have.
Well, we really haven't in the past
What,
get any input. I mean,
No.
pick streets?
what
They
they,
do
I think
studies on these
used,
sheets anyways,
Yeah.
that's what
what I
it's
used
about.
to
Grading
think,
system.
Yeah, the
same
grading
way
system, we
it
have nothing
was
to do
with
with that,
prior to this mayor.
right.
what I think used to be done is they thought if you seen a street in your ward or in the city
mhm.
that needed done, to forward it to them and they would look at it.
Yeah,
Okay.
but if you remember, even prior to this administration, a consulting firm came up with a grading system.
Right, and that's what they're.
Per how bad the street is,
Right.
and per how much traffic that street actually gets,
Right.
and they had a method for doing it. We
Right.
never had,
Never had to say so.
yeah, ever since I've been here.
But Oakview, I drive that every morning. Man, that is terrible. And I brought it up, and they said they realize it, but it won't get enough points to get it done this year. But it's bad. Dallas, you're up there. Ain't
Yeah,
it bad?
it's bad. It's bad.
You could say that about
But
a lot
also,
of streets.
you can, and it's not. I would rather see, if you ask my opinion, that might be worse. But I would rather see Lincoln get done because of the traffic Lincoln gets.
Whatever.
You know what I mean?
Whatever. It's just if it don't get. At what point you get Oakview that maybe not get enough points to get it done? At what point does it get done?
I agree.
So it
Yeah.
turns into a gravel road?
I agree. I
That's
just feel
about
like
it.
we got enough bad ones at this point that are heavily traveled. Like that one's people travel that every day to go to a school.
Yep.
Oakview, I agree, needs done. It's off by itself. And if we had to
It's
save that
still-
for a year, we
still-
don't have as many.
It's still,
Just-
it's in bad shape. It's in our city.
I
So we
agree.
should look at, just look
Right.
at it.
Sure.
So when they get the study back, do they have to go with what's recommended? They get to still choose which.
Mostly they do.
Yeah,
Well,
mostly.
is it, doesn't the county that kicks in the percentage, isn't that,
They have no say.
but the county has no say, or?
No.
They don't pick the streets or anything like that.
Nope.
No.
Our
Again,
our consultant firm's
Our,
gonna do that.
in prior years, our consulting firms came up with a grading system,
Right.
which went off of, I believe it was 1 through 5 on how bad, on the severity of the road, and then there was another point system on how much the road was traveled. So if it was heavily traveled, it might be really heavily traveled, and it's only a 3, and it got paved before something that was worse but hardly traveled. That
Well,
makes sense.
why-
It was prioritized, I guess,
But
Jim.
what I guess I'm trying to figure out is, okay, I understand that method, but if you got one that's more traveled, it's not as in bad shape, why do we have to let one that's in really bad shape sit there?
Get worse.
Yeah, I mean, you know,
Horrible
it's I was always under the impression that, that some of the funds that we got, had to do with the grading of the roads. But if that's not the case, then we can pick and choose whatever roads we wanna do.
To
Right.
my knowledge, they do not have anything
Okay.
to do with the grading of the roads.
Yeah.
Look at Elm Court at
That
the
is
fire,
bad.
around the fire station. It's terrible. Look at the street your dad lives on down there.
Yeah, it's bad too.
It's
But
way
they're not highly
overdue.
traveled.
Huh?
They're not highly traveled like Oakview.
Yeah. But when we paved Maplewood, we got the money from the county. We paved Maplewood all the way down to 5th and they stopped.
Yeah.
Yep. I mean, there's a lot of streets that need done, Del.
Sure.
Believe me.
I'm not against them getting done,
No.
but every time we have this conversation, everybody has to understand too that we put on a road resurfacing program.
Yeah.
The money from that pays the match to the county. The county picks up, Megan, do you know off the top of your head what it is? Is it
60.
I think it's 60.
4? I think it's 64%. If you want to go above that, that's fine. But now the people in the city have to pay 100% of it versus paying 64.
Right.
We keep it at that sweet spot so that the people are only paying 36%.
So we can only afford to do so
So
much.
that's what we
that's-
do.
That limits what we can do is.
I mean, if
live
you
on the road,
want to
yeah.
pay more, that's fine, but know that the people in the city are now paying 100% of whatever we do beyond that.
Right,
So at what point do you do like a street like Oakview?
yeah.
It's bad shape now.
I mean, I think you deal with
I'm just talking out loud. At what point does that street get done?
Well, I suppose that's when we have enough money.
Oh, I think it gets
It
done
is.
on.
That's the truth.
Sitting,
I think it
sitting
gets
on the
done on a
side,
year
we could say,
once-
oh, well, we got some extra money, let's
I think
pave
it gets
another
done on a
road.
year when we're caught up on
Yeah,
more
if it's-
on
that
important
street won't-
streets.
that
Last
street
year we
won't
I don't think that ever happens.
well, last year we spent a ton to get Elm Street.
We did Elm
done.
Street, and that was a
We
big
did
project.
big
Yeah.
projects last year. I mean, that's in my opinion that those were very important. You know
Right.
what I mean?
But now we're talking about Klingon again. How long ago was it that we did Klingon Road, and now we're back doing Klingon
Yeah.
Road again?
Sure.
And once again, highly traveled.
Right, but,
And highly
but
truck
all these
traffic.
other roads are not getting done again because
of that.
Because
It's
now
coming
we're
back
back,
around,
we're
yeah.
going back
Yeah.
to Fleming Road,
Circle.
and then it's gonna.
I mean, at
Exactly.
some point, I understand we are gonna have to prioritize these other ones a little
Yeah.
bit more and try to shuffle those in. But I do understand the process of why we are where we are.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You know what I
It-
mean?
It makes monetary sense.
Absolutely.
And the thing is, us doing all these roads, what are we gonna do? Us for put another higher levy on? It can do that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
Can't.
but I'm going back to, what do you do with a road
People
like
ain't
that?
gonna like
Yeah.
that.
You sneak
What
it
do you
in.
do with it?
You sneak it in there on a year when you could afford to sneak it in.
It's bad now. Do you think that road's gonna last another 2-3 years? No.
So I hope that it's prioritized for next year. I mean, I don't really know of another solution.
Right, I'm.
You know
just-
what I mean?
Well, no. If I hit the lottery,
Yeah,
I will dump all kinds of money into. streets.
No, I mean, I listen. I own a property on there. It is. I'm up there a lot. It is bad, but it's bad to the dozen cars that travel it a day. And I agree that it needs redone. It is part of the city, but I could see making that weight versus a street that gets 500 cars a day versus 12.
I understand totally what you're saying, and I'm going back, at what point does it get?
At what point, yeah, but. who you
I
gonna-
would say that it
who
gets.
you're gonna hear more from the people traveling the roads that
Yeah.
frequent.
Right.
More than you are
I'm sure
on
we
that
could look
road.
back
I
and see.
under-
I
how
understand,
they-
I get your point, but it is what it is. We only could do so much.
Well, then if it's a safety issue, you should close the road down.
I don't.
It's getting bad, I drive it every day.
Who determines it's gonna be a safety issue driving it?
The safety service.
All the potholes, the road it's turning to gravel.
Well,
I think they need to look at a list of, say, like the past 5 years and see how many streets we've actually doubled up on, and then sneak it
If
in one
that's
of
the
those
case-
years where it's,
Yeah.
you know, a double up is coming and
yeah, and if that's the case where he thinks it's gonna, it's time to close the road, then there's a legitimate bitch right there that needs
But we
done.
hope
But
it
I mean,
doesn't
think
get to
about
that
how
point.
bad a lot of roads are, right? Well,
Exactly.
do they repave the whole road, or do they fix a couple spots to Band-Aid it over for a
That's
year?
already been done.
And that's
You know
what
what I mean?
I see a lot of, yeah.
how did the township do it? They paved every one of their streets.
Yeah, and all
The
that,
township.
and all of that
Doesn't
money.
the county?
No, all of that cost went directly onto the people. They borrowed that money. If you think
what it
that
is.
Struthers is a town that should do that, propose it. I certainly don't. I do not think that the city should go into debt
No.
to pave all of its streets at one time. You
I
know what you
agree.
have then? Then you have all of them streets need repaved at one time.
Yep.
10
Same
years
time
from now.
again.
So it's better to do it the way that we do it. Let the county pick up 64%, shuffle roads in as need be. If they get really that bad, then we have to figure out another avenue. That's fine. But we do not need to go into debt to pave all of our streets at one time.
No,
That
that's
is
just-
insanity.
ridiculous.
Just like crack sealing. We used to crack seal here all the time.
Yeah, I think the crack sealing project was good.
It was damn
I
good because it
disagree.
saves the roads.
I disagree with the way that it was done, but I agree that we need it.
Yep.
They used to do roads that were really bad, and they'd get another year or two out of them. That's a waste. What you
Right.
need to do are roads that were done 3 and 4 years ago
Exactly.
and keep them good longer.
Right.
That is fine. I
Right.
agree with that program.
Yep.
But
Yep.
to fork out a bunch of money to save 1 or 2 more years on a road, that's not worth it.
No.
Is that program no longer?
We do not do the crack sealing.
Nope.
Why?
I'm not sure. I don't think we
Because
did
Bob
it.
said he doesn't believe in it.
I don't think
He
we've
told
done it
his
since
council that.
administration switched over.
Yeah.
I
think
don't.
another thing too, Dallas, I don't think they were getting people bidding on it.
Okay.
Yeah, they have
I could be
they have
wrong.
one person doing it.
But I generally do
Yeah,
believe in
that's
it,
fine.
but I believe in it so that a road that was done 3 years ago could last 10 more years,
Yeah.
and our crack sealing will go so much farther because there's not as many cracks in that road.
Mm-hmm.
It's not
So now
something-
instead of doing 5 bad roads, we could do 10 decent roads and keep them good longer.
So it was a job that was bid out. It wasn't our street department that did
No,
it.
no,
It was
no.
asphalt.
It would have to be bid out.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know how the bid form actually goes. I think that anything over 50,000 has to be bid out. Is that correct?
Yes.
Well, anyway,
But I
I
don't,
think there's talk on it, so maybe we can have a conversation with the administration.
yeah, I
on
mean,
where we're
again,
at.
I agree with you wholeheartedly that the road is bad. And I agree with you wholeheartedly that we gotta figure out a solution in the next year or so, or else
Just the ones that are really,
it's really gonna be bad.
We can all go around in our wards and say, this one's bad, this one's bad, this one, there could be, how many of them, you know what I mean?
I agree.
And then one can agree, yeah, that one's bad, man, it's not as bad as it's not as bad as this one.
Yes.
So.
But that's
then we
why
set the
it
picker
was
between
easier, honestly,
amongst us.
that we're all gonna be biased to our own ward.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
you are.
So that was why this was so much easier when somebody else, the outside consulting firm,
Consultants
did this,
do it.
because I don't want to come in here and say, well, Hopewell Drive really needs done, and it just happens to be the street I live on,
Right.
because then you're biased to that.
Sure.
So let's let a third party
Let the
completely
consultants
do that,
I agree.
and,
I agree.
you know, that was my opinion anyway.
It's my opinion too.
Because everybody is going to do that.
Sure.
I got 10 in my
That's why I
ward.
just brought it up.
That's what everybody's going to say.
I just
You know
brought
what
it
I
up.
mean? Okay. Call for adjournment. Motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.